Do you know the most interesting word of our language? I'm sure that when you start looking at everything that's been posted to and from me, you're going to see a whole bunch of different alien contexts. But the most interesting word that I know is deviant. What is a deviant? Well, without the moral dilemma of time, it would be exploring one's self sexuality. Knowing that sexuality to oneself is sacred. That what you're researching is for your mind only. Um, well, you might think of something like cocaine. The people that want to get just have sex with their relationships to explore your sexuality. What would be the opposite or adjacent? We'll say adjacent to deviance. Throwing everything you've ever done in your entire life, saving it, documenting it. We'll say 131. We'll put a number on it. 131. That's my spiritual code number. Um, we'll say 131ing it and then putting it out for public display for exercise review.
But the cheese is here.
To
So,
childhood to adult.
Miko, do they leave?
I'm not too sure.
I don't think they left.
And to do it publicly and to keep it ongoing, to be mantled, to be mantled with, to teach, to mentor, and to teach
Went down the street and I just get my phone.
a new type of aquapoise.
Yeah.
If we're only
You see, you gotta go once a month, right?
one genome different than a plant and one different than a monkey, are those one the same? We'll call that an aquapoise. Or an oid. Just flip around it, P to a D, mirror it upside down, and adjacent it in the vocabulary letter membrane. Because we're all kind of aqua or silicone. I love the invention of turning a recycled plastic back into fuel. I think that's pretty cool while we're still in early development. Instead of keep digging for old resources, why not use the renewable ones? Don't we use ones that don't care if they're dirty, ones that can be filtered, giving it another lease on life. Until we're ready. So a deviant is your consciousness under Masonic construction. It means you're learning to graph, build with it, develop it to suit your dream of happiness for your longevity of time spent with somebody on the same spiritual crime as you. We'll call it a variant. What you do behind closed doors is up to you. What I do behind them is knock the walls off and only leave up a door. Just for a sense of relief that I can sigh out of exhaustion, being the only type that I can do before I sleep. At some points, I've had to look at my demeanor and use it as an exercise for you to fall into, or a mousetrap to ideology to me. Um, I love what I've heard before about youth back when, in 80s youth, growing up without the sexual educational talk and without the ability to watch an animal or see how an animal does it, to that of a scrambled, uh, uh, pay-per-viewed, so you can just make out what a boob looks like without coverage. Um, and wait for it. Time yourself right. Um, to growing up in my era, where we live in an information base and learning more from your school friends than your parents would ever be comfortable telling you, to the children now seeing stuff that their morals would never let them go to, and to knowing that people are killing and raping and selling videos to each other or sharing them. So with that said, my deviance with my moral dilemma, based upon what I would strive for future excellence. People selling a drug that will kill you, that you can't get off of. If you're selling this drug, you will be killed. We will bring back in the hanging. There will be no court. You will die for selling fentanyl, period. If you're in pain, there's Novocaine. There's no reason for people to use this drug. If you use it, you won't get sent out to the wolves, because I don't want them eating you. We'll look at you being a creosote, and the ones that get cremated would be the ones we don't want fertilizing the earth. And the moral retribution on that would go to the psychopath killers, rapers, and all that kind of shit. The people hiding. They will be brought to awareness that this will happen. They will be given time to think and to collect the morals of peers. And then, without court, judgment will be placed. Either by committing suicide and then singled out, or other. Great change will happen in this new era of time. There won't have to be an ousting of society, because we've been crying too long for this. I've seen too many missing persons on street corners signs. I've seen hundreds of them in 3 years. Hundreds, maybe 1,000 in 3 years walking the streets. Missing persons, all different ones. I've seen full skyscrapers go from having lights on at dinner time throughout the night to being watching the skyscrapers while I'm homeless every night, and watching the lights slowly turn off and never turn back on, to having full blackouts of every high rise in my city, and the lights never turning on at nighttime when there's a traveling band and the hospitals are empty. I've watched this happen. Every skyscraper. I have went and collected Amazon packages on people's doorsteps that I suspect are fraud, that there's no homeowners there. And I've collected the packages and then hand delivered them when people are home. I don't know what you do for breathing, but I anonymously will knock on the door, hand the package back just when the people are home, just to watch. In a house where I once seen a family that there's no longer a family. Or somebody move in just to move out. And for all lights to go off on block after block of city. While you've been sitting wondering what to do, I've just been fucking doing it. In autopilot. And collecting fucking data. About how for it to never happen again. You're fortunate enough to get my best. You're fortunate enough to get our best. We're fortunate enough to know the rest. That's what they were best. And they think this is a great idea.
Everybody knows that, Uncle.
Yeah, who gets the Pistons today? Dun dun dun.
I don't know. Ken's doing somebody.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I always get a golden star when we're all on the same check mark. And this one's been screwed up.